Pro Boxing fans, we are in Manchester with the man of Manchester, the king of Manchester, Jamie. And I don't look at.
Nice, Travis has just turned up then.
Jamie Moore, how are you, sir? How's things?
I'm all right, mate. You?
Yeah, all good, all good. Another big card, and obviously involving your man, the man at the top. You know, Jack Catterall. Obviously, we know he's coming off a loss, but he has been flying the flag in Manchester for a while now. First of all, let's talk about this fight. Look, a lot of people said maybe Jack could have gone through an easier route, new division. We've seen what Harlem's done, just do Tyrone McKenna. Maybe it could have gone to a warm-up fight, an easier warm-up fight. What made you take on this fight with Harlem Eubank?
Well, I think that's the key word there is warm-up fight. I don't think Jack at this stage of his career needs warm-up fights. You know, he's had good activity over the last 12, 18 months, which has been key. But maybe coming towards the end against Barboza last time, I sensed there was a little bit of fatigue there, just because he'd gone from not being active to then being very active at a high level. And some great performances in there, but that last sort of performance at the end just seemed a little bit flat, and I feel like it was just probably a little bit too much. So the rest has done him good, but then coming back into it, he's 31 years old. You have to have, you know, a good incentive to get in there, and there's no good going, you know, let's just get a ticking over fight. There's no good for fighters like Jack, because, you know, at this stage, you take your eye off the ball, or you can take your eye off the ball. You're better off with someone like this. So Harlem's not boxed at the level Jack's boxed at. Doesn't mean he can't. But I've always got confidence in Jack's ability, because I've seen what he can do over and over again over the years. He applies himself so well, and I've seen a lot of grit and determination in his attitude since that loss. So that's all you can ever ask for. And you know, we needed somebody who was going to get that sort of, give him them nerves to make sure that he performs, and Harlem was the perfect fit.
In regards to styles, you know, there's a chance that they negate themselves because obviously the way they move and everything else. But for your fighter, do you feel like, you know, for him to make a mark on that division, you know, there's going to be points where he might have to get into a fight like Harlem does sometimes?
Yeah, I mean, listen, if Harlem Eubank tries to outsmart Jack Catterall, then I don't think that's a great move. If he tries to outfight Jack, then I don't think that's a great move. So what does he do? He's damned if you do, damned if you don't. So, but we'll see. You know, I said this, the same scenario as when Jack was fighting Josh Taylor. People was like, why are you so confident in Jack? Because I know how good Jack is. I'm aware of Harlem's ability. We'll see whether he can, whether he sinks or swims at this level. Now, you know, there's many ways that he can go about it. He can try and put it on him. He can try and outbox him. But either way, in my book, he's not got the ability to be able to outsmart Jack Catterall. He's not got the ability to you know, everyone says the same thing about Jack. As soon as they've been in there, I'm like, Jesus Christ! I didn't realise the strength of him, because that's not what he goes in there and tries to implement. He uses his brain rather than his physical strength. So yeah, I believe from watching Harlem, he's very adaptive. He's good at adapting to his opponents. Whatever's in front of him, he adapts to. So that means, in all honesty, it should blend into a good fight, because once one or the other starts to land, then they're going to know that they're going to have to play catch up with the other one.
In regards to Jack, he's been around and fought some great fights. He's actually sparred with some absolutely fantastic fights. Probably the man at the top. I can remember actually a while ago when I was watching, he was in the States with Floyd Mayweather. I don't know what fight it was. Floyd, it might be the Pacquiao fight.
Pacquiao, yeah.
And obviously that sort of sparring. He said he called it like a crammed university degree in 6 weeks, where he gained so much knowledge. And then
he was about 19 years old then as well. So it's like, and he sparred with Canelo as well.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, so he's been in with some phenomenal fighters. He really has, and but early on, which is like that stage of your career where you're really soaking up that type of information and knowledge. So he's had that in his locker for years now, and his style's very much based on all those experiences from you know, years ago, and stood him in such good stead that, you know, that's why probably, even in the inactivity parts where he wasn't that busy, he was always in the gym, because he's seen the work ethic what those fighters have years ago when he was a kid, and that's followed through, and he's carried that through right to this stage in his career now.
Talking about fighters, actually, Pat Brown's just behind us. comes with a big fan base, and we've seen fighters get pushed because they're good ticket sellers, and they get pushed quicker than they normally would do because they just want to get him out and out. How are you going to sort of stop that? Make sure he's not put under that sort of pressure that sometimes happens.
Yeah, I feel like Sam Jones knows what he's doing in terms of management. Him and Eddie and Frank Smith are always talking. He's always communicating back to me about opponents and stuff like that. But Pat's probably one of those fighters where you don't want to give him 15 fights where by the time he gets to the end of the 15 fights, you're still in the same position as we are after his debut, where you go, wow, what a fighter. He's ferocious. He can take a shot. He knows that I'd dog it out. But we're no further on. We haven't progressed him really. He's still fighting the same type of level. That's the worst case scenario for me. By the time he's getting to 10 fights, I would want him in that position where he's fighting for the British title because he's good enough. He's not a spring chicken. He's like 25, 26. So if you're going to have a good 10 years with Pat, you're going to move within the first 12, 18 months. You've got to be moving to the point where you're going, right, we're in a position to fight for the British title here. And I think anyone who's been in there with him sparring, who's fought him, will all tell you the same thing. Regardless of whether you think you can beat him or not, you're going to be in for a hell of a fight. And him and Leo Tang sparred just before Pat's debut, and what a spar that was. And by the way, Leo's going to be a phenomenal fighter as well. So the future's bright, but I'll tell you what, you can say whatever you want about Pat Brown, it's going to be exciting.
Interesting. Just give me a rundown of what else is going on in the gym with the rest of the lads.
Obviously, Akib's fighting Gomez, which is a good grudge match for Manchester. And obviously, Alfie Middlemiss is having his 4th pro fight in the bill as well. But we've got Conor Walker, he's out first, and Pat's on the same bill in Birmingham, 21st. So yeah, busy.
What about the Hamids? Is there anything going on with them boys?
We're waiting to find out now. I think there's talk about maybe Adam might be able to get out on the Usyk and Dubois bill, but it's not confirmed yet. We're just waiting to find out. But hopefully they can get him out on that and keep him active because he's not been out this he's not got out this year yet. So he's chomping at the bit to get out.
And just quickly, we talked about Manny Pacquiao there. He's coming back into boxing. I think it's been 6 years, has it, since he's been his last fought. What do you make of that? Because obviously, as much as we're all boxing fans and we like to see Pacquiao, there's also a stage where you just think that's it. It should be.
It's crazy. Like nostalgia. I love nostalgia. It's one of the best things. But he should stay where it is. And he's 45 years old or whatever he is. He's 46. Like, he's nearly the same age as me. There's no way on this earth he should be able to come back. I mean, so the WBC have this rule about, championing recess or whatever it is. Can you imagine? So I was sort of British, European level. Imagine if I retired as British champion and then all of a sudden, at 46 now I go, hey, listen, lads, Rob Smith, come here a minute. Just so you know, I'm thinking of having another fight again. And Rob goes, no worries, Jamie, you can fight for British title next week. Insane. Like, everyone will go, you're joking, you can't just do that. So, and that, when you explain it in that way, it sounds insane, yet there, and this is at a higher level, it's much more dangerous, and I just hope to God nothing serious happens because it's a dangerous sport, and you've got a 46-year-old man going in there with a young, in his prime athlete, and it's already dangerous enough, this sport, without allowing things like that to happen.
On a different note, Tyson Fury looks like he's going to be coming back. He hasn't made an announcement, but he's putting out the signals, and them signals seem to be moving forward every week. And look, would it just be great to see not even just back in the ring, just him and the Anthony Joshua fight maybe happen towards the end of the year? Would that be something you'd be so?
It'd be a shame if we never saw it. I'm a big believer. Someone like Tyson Fury, who's still at the age where he can still do it, still performing at the highest level. Losing to Usyk closely is nothing like finished. So, but if he's happy and content, I would like to see him retire. If he wants to fight again, I'm happy to see it because he's a character. He's one of the best fighters around, and if he wants to continue his career, then it'd be a crying shame if Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury get to the end of their careers and they don't fight again, and they've never fought each other. Should we have seen it sort of 6 years ago, whatever? Yeah, but better late than never.
Just a quick two fight predictions I want for you before I let you go. Canelo Crawford, big fight in September. I was there in Riyadh for Canelo's last fight. Like a lot of people talked about the performance, but I think his opposition was a bit tough to sort of negate. But talk to me about that fight, different opposition, someone who's very much at the top of the game.
Yeah, listen, I've seen a lot of people who I respect their opinions picking Crawford, and I don't feel like Canelo's finished, but he's certainly not the fighter he was 2 or 3 years ago. And you know, I always thought light heavyweight was a bit too much for him of a step up anyway, especially against someone like Bivol. But I'm not. The old sort of saying, a good big always beats a good little one. I can't get away from that. And although Crawford's a phenomenal fighter, Canelo's by no stretch of the imagination finished, and I just feel he'll just be too big and too strong for him.
Talking about phenomenal fights, this is my last question. Oleksandr Usyk, we know how great he's been for the sport and how great he's been at both divisions, but does face a young, hungry Daniel Dubois, who seems to, you know, I'll get your opinion on this, but do you feel like we're seeing a different Daniel Dubois compared to the first fight? And if so, do you feel like he has a chance to sort of take all the belts off Oleksandr Usyk?
He's without a shadow of a doubt a better fighter than he was the first time he fought him, and the vast majority of the reason for that, I believe, is confidence. You know, he's come away from the first fight. He's learnt a lot from it. He's then gone into a position where he's had some of the best wins he's had, his biggest wins of his career, and he's now in a position where he's riding the crest of a wave, and he's going, you know what, I really believe in myself now. And I don't even think the setbacks what he's had are really such a boxing thing. It's more of a mental, psychological thing, and the belief he's going to have in himself at this moment in time is going to be through the roof. So maybe he's getting Usyk at the right time. You know, if I was a betting man, I wouldn't bet against Usyk, but I would not be surprised if Dubois pulls it off.
Interesting, Jamie. Look, it's always a pleasure talking to you. Hopefully, actually, next season for us United fans, it's a lot better. I didn't want to talk about it much, but listen.
In a good mood, then. You please don't talk to me about United.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good.
I'm sick about them.
Well, listen. Thank you very much for giving us your time as always, and I'll see you close to fight week. Thank you very much.